my success was not actually, it was not all in my hands. The success was being inspired and elevated by people that are around me that then made me level up as an entrepreneur to do more, be more, and execute.
In this episode of my podcast, Relentless Life on Your Terms, we sit down with Tobi Skovron, who started his entrepreneurial journey with a $20,000 loan, built his business to almost 8 figures, got acquired by an American firm who are now turning over $600 million. Has now put his attention to creating a co-working space that we are currently standing and we filmed in today called Creative Cubes, which is a great place for you if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner and you're looking for an office premise. I highly recommend checking this place out. It was very fun to film this episode with a lot of great takeaways. On this episode of my podcast, Relentless Life on Your Term, I have a very special guest, Tobi. Tobi, thanks for joining us.
Chris, thank you so much.
Now, I've got a one-page list of all your awards and accolades, so we'll post a few of them because they're so impressive.
Thank you.
Tell us when your entrepreneurial journey began to where we are sitting here today.
Yeah, so I think for me, actually subliminally started from the day I was born. My dad was a very successful entrepreneur who unfortunately passed away when I was 16. He got sick when I was 14. But I remember my bedroom as a kid was directly opposite the bathroom, and the hallway that I had to go through from one side of the house to the other had all my dad's accolades and all of his successful awards and all the rest of it. And I remember very clearly as a kid when my dad turned 40, my mum created a cake with icing of my dad on the cake, and it had a speech bubble, and it said, I did it my way, yeah? And so I think subconsciously that just kind of just seeped in every time I was in the house, and around the family. And so I moved to Melbourne in 2003.
Because you're from Sydney originally?
Correct. And I bought my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife and mother of our 2 kids, I bought her a dog. And the dog needed to go to the toilet at the most inconvenient of times. And so my girlfriend, now my wife Sim, said, Tobes, we just need a patch of backyard on our balcony. And that's when I think all that subliminal messaging over the years
came into action.
I came alive as an entrepreneur. I knew exactly what I needed to do. I basically ran the 10-year journey in 30 seconds in my head. And I went, got it. And went and created this product, which I then branded up called Pet Loo. And Pet Loo grew from my spare bedroom in Elwood, Victoria, to becoming a global business. Hundreds of thousands of dogs use the product, and probably more than hundreds of thousands of dogs today use the product. And I grew it from a $20,000 loan to just shy of 10 million in revenue. That was sort of like base 1. Base 2 was during that whole entrepreneurial journey, while I was lit up as an entrepreneur, doing the business and having fun with the creativity, I was actually really lonely. I was isolated. I couldn't really relate, or people couldn't really relate to the situation that I was in because they were lawyers, doctors, surgeons, or working for mum and dad. And so I was very isolated. And it wasn't until I moved to Los Angeles in 2008, when I moved into the old Google headquarters in Santa Monica, that this guy had taken over, turned it into a co-working space, and I took a 2-person private office there, that I actually came alive even more so as an entrepreneur, because I was surrounded by really talented people, hyper-focused on their own craft. So Travis Kalanick, who founded Uber, was there. We had some Snapchat staff in the building. We had a whole bunch we had Facebook Overflow, we had YouTube staff there, members of staff there. And just being around like-minded, professional, hungry, go-get-em, defiant, rebellious entrepreneurs.
We spoke about that a bit outside, and sorry to interject, but I think it's an important point. I also told you I started from my parents' house, and working in a small office or your house, whatever it is, you don't have that inspiration, you don't have that energy, you don't have that feel. So creating something like you've created here, you get that inspiration every day, but you can collaborate.
Correct.
You come into an environment where some of the people that you just mentioned, you're working beside them, hey, I've got something to discuss with you, here's an idea. And it just really is a great incubator for ideas, but also to have an impact, which
100%.
I know you discussed that with me earlier, but when I walked in here the first time, because the second time I'm in here, I saw the happiness team and I thought, that actually makes me happy, obviously. The yellow things, the cafe, and it's a lot of thought.
Yellow things are the gold standard. So it's yellow, it's intentional behind the colors. There's intention behind everything that we do here.
The booths are clear, it looks very clean. So I can physically see and feel that, so the work that you've put in here. So,
Yep.
but the benefits to working in a cohort space is just insane, isn't it?
Well, so if we dial it back, Chris, just maybe like 5 beats, there's a couple of things, right? The first and foremost is, on my first journey with Petloo, was very isolating, yeah? And only when I landed just by chance into this co-working space in Santa Monica did I come alive. And so what I recognized through the pre-Santa Monica days to the post-Santa Monica days is that actually my success was not it was not all in my hands. The success was being inspired and elevated by people that are around me, that then made me level up as an entrepreneur to do more, be more, and execute.
Of course, but inside you though, and I know you downplay it a little bit, you had that ability and that drive and that hunger. You're talking about, and I see that you are cursed with ambition, which
Cursed.
I say the same, but it's a good curse to have.
Totally.
You see your father, all of those things were embedded in you.
Mm-hmm.
All you needed was a bit of a nudge.
A little bit of a nudge, the right environment, and the ability, I guess, and the intrinsic motivation
To not quit,
and
give up,
gut
be resilient.
to just be able to get, if I can say, get kicked in the nuts all day, every day, and go, good, this is making me better. The good, this is making me stronger, and not like cry or get weak over something that doesn't go right. I think some of the best lessons that I've had as an entrepreneur are in the darkest times of failure, and I think that we as a people, not only in Victoria but globally, have experienced some really dark times over the last 12 months. Yeah. But during those 12 months, I got to tell you, my optimism was as high as it's ever been, because I was like, this is an opportunity. This is now COVID for me, is leveling the playing field for everyone across the planet, and those people that are really prepared to put in the work and do the hustle can really kind of get out of this.
And they compound. You're seeing the disparity in wealth now. They say if you were to give everybody $1 around the world, give it enough time and people will be exactly where they are now. Because it's the work ethic, it's knowing how to get there, how to surround yourself with the right people, how to be inspired. Mm-hmm. And that's definitely a very, very accurate and true saying. And when you came to talk about leveling up, so here we are now, we're at Creative Cubes. That was born from the back of working in the cohort space in Google.
Yep.
What's different about Creative Cubes? Now I've walked in it, I've felt it.
Yeah.
What's different about Creative
So
Cubes?
there's a couple of things. One, we're very, very heavy on values and culture. Very, very heavy on values and culture.
Why?
So because that's one of the most important foundations for success. So a couple of things. I want you, Chris, and I want Billy, Jane, and Mary to walk in here and feel the same way.
It's my wife's name, by the way.
Yeah. Chris and Mary?
No, Billy.
Billy.
So good guess. Or you did research, I don't know, but this guy's good.
Sometimes the shot just goes in. I can't explain it. So there's a couple of things. One is Creative Cubes exists to enable success. We do that by creating a sense of belonging, which is our value, and we lean in on everything, right? We don't shy away, we embrace.
Lean in, you mean? Get your hands dirty, work out and fix it. What do you mean lean in?
We lean in on whatever it is. If it's an uncomfortable conversation and I really want to kind of not have this conversation, that's not...
They're the ones you need to have.
Those are the ones you need to lean in on. You need to go deep on all of this sort of stuff. So I think, the fact that we are, we create a sense of belonging is a really, really important ingredient for success. And 550 people today here at South Melbourne, as well as 250 at Hawthorn and 180 at Richmond, call Creative Cubes home for their business, and they all feel like they belong. They all feel like this is their home, and so it's very intentional. Yeah.
You know, you walk into Fitness First, then they'll always scan your thing and they say your name, first name. People love hearing their names. You can tell a lot by a business. And I go, I bet you that's in their training manuals. I was sitting here in the reception and they're happy at the team. 3 people came up to me and asked me if I was okay. Yep. Probably in the space of 8 minutes.
Yep. Well, we care. That's the bottom line. We're not transaction focused. Now, don't get me wrong. We are transacting a lot and revenue is growing at a rapid rate.
It has to be to do these things.
But it's not the priority. Priority is the person and the community, right? And if we can make that a success, then the rest trails.
Is this the philosophy you always followed in your businesses?
Just look after your customer. Just look after your people. Look after the people that you're going out to serve, and then they will happily pay their invoice.
Of course, and also they can sustain and grow their business. Because one of my values in my office is client. And a couple of years ago, I was fortunate enough to go to Neckarol and meet Branson, and he embodies team culture and spirit better than anyone. And it was always intriguing to have a chat with him. They do work each other out. If you look after your team, they'll look after your client, they'll look after your bottom line. But I think people do it the other way around.
Yeah, so there's a couple of really important things on that. My first company, my top 3 values were relationships. You've got client. My second one was relationships. And the third one was relationships. And they are kept sacred at all times. Yeah, and so it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 20 seconds to destroy
100%.
it, right? So I've always operated on those values. I've come from a family that's very grounded. We look after each other, and we don't shy away when times are tough. We lean in and look after each other even more so during those times. So there's that. When you talked about Branson, it triggered me in another way, and now I've got to go red-faced because I can't recall what I wanted to say on it. But a lot of people are hyper-focused on what their competitors are doing. Oh, my competitor's doing this, so I've got to do that. I couldn't give absolute shit what my competitors are doing because my competitors don't actually put a roof over my head and feed my children. My customers do. So we are hyper-focused dialing in as opposed to looking out, and I think that it's played, and we're here to play the long game. So it's playing out very well.
It's about listening and caring. Like I remember one person told me, you don't know the market, I don't know the market, the client knows the market. Mm-hmm. Which means you need to actively listen to the people who are effectively helping you grow, pay your invoices, but expand. So if you're not listening to them and you think egotistically you know exactly what the market wants, and I'm seeing it, I've been in real estate for 22 years, products change, suburbs change, stage change, it's a dual lock, it's a single, so many different products, and if you're not listening to the market, you'll become a dinosaur.
I think I can surmise what you're saying very simply, which is we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Yeah, listen twice as much as you speak, and I promise you, that's one of the most important ingredients to success.
Very hard when I'm Greek because I have to talk a lot all the time.
No,
so
with pleasure.
Maybe I'll get another 3-4 mouths. Now, who was your role model growing up?
Quite honestly, it all comes down to the women in my life, which is my mum, my 2 sisters. My mum, we lost our father. My mum lost her husband. My sisters and I lost our father. And my mum kept our heads up. She kept us focused on what we had, not what we didn't have.
So she came from a grateful point of view.
Yeah, and so it really sucked. But my mum kept us focused on the positive stuff, not the negative stuff. And so, I looked up to athletes like Michael Jordan. I got the pleasure and honor of hanging out with Kobe Bryant 10 months before he passed when he came to Australia. I've been around some incredibly talented people. I'm honored every day by my team.
You've seen The Last Dance, obviously. Every negative turns into a positive. But you see, I talk a lot about mindset. If this is embedded in you from a young age, you're surrounded with, you're walking out looking at the trophies, your mind's thinking, an idea comes to you, bang. That really resonates. So,
but you know what surprises me? Like I meet with a lot of entrepreneurs and they're like, hey, I just studied 3 years of entrepreneurs. Or like, mate, I don't know what you're talking about. I really believe entrepreneurship comes from within. It's a strand of DNA versus something that you're educated to be.
Question then, can it be taught?
I think that environment plays a big factor.
You mentioned that a lot because you mentioned it at home, you mentioned it here,
Yep.
and in essence, you're an incubator to so many good businesses.
Completely.
I can't imagine how Google would feel having co-working spaces and all these massive brands come out of there, which is essentially what you're doing. That would have to be like a big win or badge on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what?
So I think environment plays a massive factor in it. But I think the environment brings out your best and your worst traits.
Do you have to have it, though, is what I'm asking.
I think that you have to have it, absolutely, because it's not sexy and it's not cool. It looks sexy and cool.
It's a bit crazy and a bit lost to an
Mate,
art or a business.
It is a dark, dark world. It is a lonely, challenging, enduring, grueling mission.
People just see the trophy with the award and say that he just won a world title.
Yeah, you can't win titles without actually, you don't just show up. It's not a light switch. You don't just turn it on. I've got a young daughter who's really into the arts. She loves acting, dancing, singing. She likes DJing. And I think she has it. I really do. I think if she has my hustle and her mum's talent, I think she's limitless. But I keep telling her every day, it's not just going to happen. You need to practice. You need to rehearse. You need to do the push-ups. You need to do the sit-ups. You need to run. You have to eat the healthy food. You have to get your mind into the game.
Peak performance.
For us here at Cubes, we haven't even talked about it, but we actually aren't just creative cubes. We're really a business that operates off 4 pillars. One of it is nutrition and food and healthy. And that's why we've got our cafe here that serves amazing food to fuel your mind. We have an event space, which I'm not sure you've entirely seen, but that is focused on 2 things. One, it's a space for hire, which always delivers an amazing experience for people that are hiring the space.
Is it the place on the right-hand side or sitting?
No, that's just a meeting room. Okay. We have a 200-person event space on the other side of the building. Oh, wow. It's in use today, so I'm not sure we can get in, but hopefully we can get a sneak peek. But we have professional people, CEOs, athletes come and talk to the community. So that sort of opening your mind to, hey, I was just a guy. LeBron James, not my favorite player at all, or anywhere close to being my favorite player, but he keeps saying, I'm just a kid from Akron. He's just a kid from Akron. A lot of people think that LeBron James, he was definitely given the talent. He was born with it. He was an entrepreneur in the athletic mind or in the athletic state, but he works his ass off.
You've read the book Malcolm Gladwell, The Outliers, 10,000 Hours?
Have not.
Well, basically, it's a great book, and the premise of the book is it takes 10,000 hours to master a skill and become an expert in your field in anything you do. Disciplined hours. And I use this as an entrepreneur saying, 38 hours a week, it will take you 5 years and 3 weeks just over to complete them. If you do 80 hours a week, you can do it in 2 years. If you're disciplined and even more focused, you can do it in 1. So imagine doing something that takes people 5.5 years, you can do it in 1. These athletes you're referring to, all of them haven't done 10,000 hours. They've done 100, 200,000 hours in something that they're passionate about. And that's the difference with anyone because it takes you that long. So the premise of it makes a lot of sense thinking about it.
Couldn't agree more. Again, it comes back to it's not a light switch. Entrepreneur, venture, hustle, startup, go get them. I didn't choose this. But what I did was I embraced it when I recognized it within myself, and I think I've had relative amount of success as a result of leaning in.
I've got 2 more questions. Give me 5 tips, someone wanting to become an entrepreneur, some of the things that you think are essential.
Yeah, so I think I can give you more than 5, but if we had to go with 5, I would say surround yourself with like-minded people.
Yep.
Because you're going to learn a lot.
Yep.
2 is listen twice as much as you speak. Like make sure that you're listening to the market. There's a lot of people that I see, they're so in love with their product or idea, right? That they refuse to see all the flaws. And when someone gives them brutal honesty about their feedback or gives them feedback on what they've created, they take offense to it. Whereas the mindset should be, thank you for that. I'm now going to turn around and make my product even better and you're going to love it even more. And I may end up charging you a little bit more money for it, but at least you're going to see the product into the market that
and
the
it shows
customer
you
wants.
listen and you care.
Correct. I'd say that make sure you consume as much knowledge as possible. So if you take the 10,000 hours, I think that's a great way to look at things. Elon Musk says something very similar. It's like if I give you 30 days to do something, it'll take you 30 days. right? If I say do the same thing that's going to take you 30 days in 3 days, you're probably not going to end up completing the task because the time is
very close to
but you've actually learned a lot of things by trying to power through it. That's going to, giving yourself that short deadline to go and execute.
What's the worst thing that can happen if you fail and you're close? You've saved a lot of time and you've gone forward.
I actually think the worst thing that can happen is actually what the best thing that could happen, which is you're going to fail. Yeah. But so long as you don't stop,
You never lose.
you can't lose.
I
You
agree.
really just can't lose.
So 2 more?
I think that's that, right? Like just don't stop. Yeah. Don't quit. And then I would be lost on trying to find the last one out of 100 that are floating in my head to say this is the one. I don't think
The
there's...
2 that you brought up that I'd like to highlight, put yourself with the right people and put in the work.
Yep.
Now, Creative Cubes offers that sort of an environment for an
Totally.
entrepreneur.
Yep.
And
Not exclusively for an entrepreneur, just anyone in business, right? So like we're the home of some of the biggest companies in the world. And we're the home of some of the smallest companies in the world. But the small companies grow really fast here.
And
Yeah.
because it's but when you said the biggest, I guess due to COVID, it's actually really helped this space, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think COVID actually just kind of like, so let's say we were down for 9 months. COVID was a 9-month kick in the pants. That 9 months probably sped up the market by 9 years. Yeah.
That's probably.
So I think that this was always going to happen, but it was going to happen over a gradual 9-year
So
period.
basically, it realised things a lot quicker.
Yeah, and I think that
It's a great
it gets
outtake,
even
great
more.
outtake.
It gets even more exciting. The meeting that I had before this one was from a couple of our real estate guys that we work with quite heavily on customer acquisition, and he's like, only 20% of commercial leases ended in the last 12 months.
Only 20%.
Only 20%. We are smashed with interest. We are smashed with demand, and only 20%. We still have the balance of the balance over the next 5 years of that 80% or 3 to 5 years is going to exit, and we are like at like this point with in a really positive way in demand for what we do right now. So there's still so much bandwidth to come. It's really exciting. There's a lot of people sitting at home or in their office right now going, I've got to get out of my commercial lease. I've got to go to move my staff to flexible options, but I'm stuck. So they're planning their exit, but their exit can't actually happen before the next 1, 2, 3, up to 5 years away. And that's 80% of the market is still to come.
I can relate because I just signed the current building I'm at now, 5-year lease.
Yep.
I was looking at getting twice the floor space 1 or 2 weeks before COVID.
Yep.
Now I've rejigged it, but I'm looking at alternative options because I needed more space. There's about 60 people sitting in the office. It's a bit tough at the moment. So we've covered everything. An interesting fact about you, which I found also funny. When you can't sleep, you tickle yourself to sleep. How does that work?
Yeah.
Doesn't that wake you up?
No, quite the opposite. It helps me. It's almost like meditative. Not tickle, ha, 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 but I'll lie there with my arm in the air and I'll just like tickle
Like
it.
a light massage.
Not
I'm
even
picturing
massage.
someone tickling you and you're out.
No. It's. I think it's more meditative than it is hysterical or fun.
That makes more sense.
And actually, I didn't know this at all about myself until my wife had filmed it. So when the question hit my inbox, I was like, I don't know, I put everything out there. Like, there's nothing that you don't know about Tobi Skovron because you can Google it. But my wife's like, does everyone know you tickle your arm? I go, what? And she's like, oh, I've got a video to show you. And it's just a nice caressing of the arm, which just helps me relax. And
I'd like to thank your wife for sharing that information. Now, Tobi, in true tradition,
yes.
I'm going to fire some quick answers, some quick 5 minute,
Yep.
and see how we go. If you could come from any other decade or era, where would you come from? What era?
I am in love with where we're at right now. I'm in love with it. I think that this is the true the modern day David and Goliath story, right? Which is the little guy has a real opportunity to win here.
To step up and work and make it happen.
Like the tech that's available to us today, create a website, create an app very quickly,
It's an
create a
equalizer.
brand. Some of the older guys don't really understand it, and I think that really levels the playing field.
We've created more billionaires than we've ever had in history, and that's because of the tech.
I think so.
Who's your favourite actor?
Oh, Actor. I like Jaleel White, who was Steve Urkel back in the day. I follow him on Instagram. We got a mutual friend out in Los Angeles, Brendan. I think Adam Sandler is an absolute superstar, but that hands down, it'd go to Will Smith.
Okay. Now, if your house was on fire and you ran back in to get two things, your wife, your kids are out, so we can scrap that.
Yeah.
What are you running in to get?
I'm not, and I think about that a lot. I'm not running in because everything I have is in the cloud. So you can take my phone, you can take my laptop, you can throw it all in the ocean for all I care. That's fine. I'll find a new machine, type in my username, password, and I'm back.
Best answer in that, please make note, he's getting nothing back. He's got everything on the cloud. Now,
well, no, I think that highlights a couple of things. One, what's precious to me is secure, and two, I'm not a material person. I don't need my dog would be one that I would grab for sure, but I don't need to grab anything.
it's not always the answers. A lot of people say photos and things like that, but you've already got them all.
All in the cloud.
Now, name one book you read that impacted you in a positive way.
22 Immutable Laws of Branding.
Cool. Who would play you in a movie?
Will Smith.
Any tattoos?
None.
Best gift you ever received?
The best gift I ever received, there's two. There's three. One was the day I met my wife.
Yeah.
I think that was an absolute, it's still like, I still can't believe she's married to me. Like
You might be a good salesman like me, so I married up as well.
She's amazing. And then the other two are my two daughters. Like, the biggest privilege in my life is being their father and giving them what I didn't have.
You know, the second person I heard that from not long ago, Jason Mamouth, who was talking about Lenny Kravitz's ex-wife, and that's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
And that resonated with me so much. I thought, what a nice guy. So, yeah, I love that. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
If you had one superpower, what would it be?
This is a good one. One superpower. Yeah. I don't really crave a superpower. I don't know.
You mentioned one thing that's so important for our listeners. Being optimistic is so important, and it's the way you've been able to build so many great businesses. So I'm not going to give you a superpower, but I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah,
I really like that.
That's a great question. I'll ask my wife and
Get back to me.
I'll get you.
I'll put it in the comments.
Notation there. Yeah.
Now, if you could have dinner with three people, dead or alive, who would they be?
So I was very lucky. I had dinner with Kobe, so I was very, very lucky with that. I would love to spend some time with Elon and Steve Jobs. I think those guys are awesome. And if I had a third, I'm hoping to have dinner with Shaquille O'Neal when he comes to Australia.
Sports athletes and high entrepreneurs. One strange fact no one knows about you?
I tickle my arm when I can't sleep.
Okay. From this whole episode, 3 takeaways that you want our listeners to get.
So you asked before about superpower. I don't think it takes a superpower to do what I'm doing. I don't think it takes a superpower for Elon Musk to be doing what he's doing. I think it's all about commitment to the mission and relentless pursuit of the vision. Even when all the chips are down and it's the darkest of dark, COVID is guaranteed to kill you, you stay at your post executing every single day. I don't think I am anyone or anything special, but I am committed unconditionally to success and exceeding my expectations. But that takes, I was thinking about it this morning, I had an 8 o'clock meeting which prevented me from going to the 6:30 gym session this morning. So instead of not going, I showed up at 4:30 because I didn't want to miss. And I stayed disciplined day in, day out, even if my schedule changes.
You work around your older. You said you might not be special, but you definitely have a special mindset and a special ability. And then that's definitely a talent.
I appreciate that.
Last one. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much have you enjoyed this podcast?
This has been great. I know it has been great. I do a lot of podcasts. I do a vlog Monday, Wednesday, Friday myself. But always appreciate hanging around with like-minded people.
So,
Creative Cubes. You've got quite a few offices now. How do people get in touch?
Yeah, jump online at creativecubes.co, Creative Cubes Co, or on any of your social networks, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Creative Cubes Co. I think we're pretty accessible on all those channels.
If you want to be inspired, if you're an entrepreneur, big business, check out this place. It is an amazing workplace. I've been here twice and I've been impressed thoroughly. Thank you.
Thank you.